Hello, YouTube. I've got a question for medical professionals, if any do come across this video, is that how would you guys be able to tell me for 100% fact and convince me that I'm schizophrenic by diagnosis of the current information doctors are trying to use to diagnose me as schizophrenic? And especially when the definition just says a person who doesn't have social skills, who is poverty-stricken, has a hard time keeping a job or finding a job, and is more likely to die at an earlier age than the average. I mean, that kind of explains almost every poor person, because we all develop our own different habits because of the towns we're raised in, the parents we're raised by, where some of us know that if we take a water bottle to school and put a hole in the top of it, we can start spraying everybody with water any second we want. But that's not a normal behavior, or at least that's what we're told. But a lot of things I have problems with conforming to my doctor's diagnosis. Is his diagnosis and choosing the medicine for that diagnosis is the only thing that I am a poor person that has bad social skills somewhat, but not really, because I mean, even in a mental hospital I could talk to almost any of the patients and start having a blast and start a poker game or start a spade game or something, and then turn around and go sit in a corner and calm down and relax and be by myself. Because I mean, I think that shows social skills. So I guess the only thing is poor and poverty-stricken, unless I'm the schizophrenic that has hallucinations or auditory hallucinations. Well, how can they prove that I have that? Well, they try to use a simple thing called, they have a person at the door next to your room and listening to you the whole night, and heard that you were talking to yourself. So if you're talking to yourself, that means you probably double talk yourself in your head and stuff. Thus, and conscious and subconsciously, you don't think it's happening, but it's actually happening there. Well, guess what's wrong with that? When I was a kid, my mom, she has this bad habit of, even if she hears you or doesn't hear you, either way, she just does what she wants. And I got in the bad habit of thinking I said things at times when I only said it in my head, because there were times I sat there and said it aloud and swore I heard it in my ears. So I sat there and waited, and then I looked at her and she asked me what, and I was like, I asked something, and she's like, I didn't hear you. So then I started thinking maybe I didn't say anything and I only thought it in my head. So then it happened later to where I thought in my head, hey Mom, can I get something to drink? Well, this is more vocabulary than I had when I was between probably 4, so somewhere right around there. But just an example. And I thought it in my head because I couldn't tell the difference, thanks to her ignoring me and not responding. And then I learned, guess what? To know for sure that I've said something is I've got to stop thinking. If I stop thinking, then I won't ever make that mistake again, and I'll know when I say something and know when I don't. Right? Correct. So it became a OCD habit to just not even think about anything. And the only time I think is when I speak. And I had to train that habit, an OCD habit, by going off into out of the yard around the corner for just a minute, somewhere where if my mom yelled for me I could come back, but not too far away, or not too close enough to be heard, or not too far away to make anyone worry. So I'd sit there and just talk to myself for a few minutes, walk around, check things out, and only when I see something, oh, that's green, I would speak when I saw it. I would not think it. I would never think a thing again without speaking. So that means after a while, whenever I'm not speaking, I'm not thinking. Which people are like, that's impossible, man, you can't do that. Well, here's the thing, science has proven there's times that people don't think and they subconsciously do things and pay attention to things without noticing. So there is brief moments or huge moments of not thinking, and then in a martial artist will tell you that is a valuable skill if you can actually master it, to clear your mind and just listen to everything and just feel the energy of everything around you. Because I mean, when I stopped listening and stuff, or stopped thinking and only listened to when I spoke, and when I didn't speak, I didn't hear nothing, my brain started getting in the habit to where now I can't even hear a thought in if I try to make a thought in my head, I have to picture words scrolling across the backside of my forehead like a screen. But then I know some people will be like, well, that's going to cause the hallucination thing and stuff. Well, you would think that, but there's another thing I did as a little kid. I looked up at the sun for like 2-3 minutes, so my vision is kind of fucked and blurred. So since I was a kid, before I even had the bad habit of getting to where I noticed patterns through my vision, I messed up my vision just bad enough to where I couldn't discern or be able to tell things from a distance. So I couldn't have vivid images to where I could see distance-wise and stuff, but I could still see images and clearly when things were close up. And then also another way to prevent hallucinations to appear is, while you're a little kid, look at lights and stuff, and then you'll see that if you stare at a light and stuff, you can start seeing that green light or faded little green circle that just floats away sometimes. And then if you look at it, then it pops back into the middle of your vision, and you're like, yeah. And that's not a hallucination. That's something your eyes are like, I can see that. That's not hallucination. But then when you're like, okay, I want to imagine something, you close your eyes, and then you can imagine a pineapple the size of this room. Open your eyes, you can be in this pineapple in your mind, but you know you don't see the pineapple. That's pretending. Though there are those that's where lucid dreaming is the key factor in creating hallucinations in real life. Depressed people sleeping all the time in actuality have a higher chance of starting to have lucid dreams, because their body's more used to being in dream mode, and everything you've learned in the real world and physics and stuff, your brain applies it in there in your dream world. And then everything you wanted to do to beat those physics and stuff, say you wanted to float and stuff, you could do it. It still has the same physics of the real world in your dream world, except that you're the only person in there that can change things or defy it. And then that's where people start getting weird ass complexes, like the God complex, the Jesus complex, the Blob complex, the Spider-Man complex, Thor's complex and stuff, because these are all the people they aspired to be as children. These are beings and influential deities and persons that they want to be and would like to, even though they know themselves they're not that person, they just would like to relish in the fascination of imagining what it would be like to have that kind of popularity where when you walk somewhere, everyone looks at you. And when you walk somewhere, everyone's weary of your thoughts or of your actions. So my thing for medical physician and stuff is with those key factors that no doctor asked me about from my childhood, if I ever developed any coping patterns or anything, because they don't think any kids can have that conscious of a cognitive thinking skills at 4 to 5 to be able to develop patterns to prevent auditory and hallucinatory things from happening, because scientists still don't know entirely what causes them besides certain patterns that they have deduced to be signs of someone having schizophrenia, even though the person might not even have it. And then here's the bad thing: if the person doesn't have it and they're given schizophrenic medicine, could probably give them schizophrenia, don't you think? Because isn't that what bipolar medicine does? Or no, depression medicine does? If you're depressed, it'll help you, but if you're not depressed, it'll make you depressed. Oh, so this is pretty much a gimmick trip to where anyone that comes to a hospital and like, I trust you, doctor. Anything you say has got to be a fact because you got credentials. Well, I guess the only thing that I couldn't disagree with it. You have credentials in your field of study, and a lot of your patients don't. But doctor, sir, you got a student here or a person here who has graduated from, I'm not saying colleges or anything, just basic high school, elementary, and middle school. And I took anatomy, psychology, and what else is it? Biology. So I am like and chemistry. So I'm your full team setup of a psychiatrist, a doctor, and a chemist, to be able to have a doctor that analyzes the body, have a psychiatrist that analyzes the thoughts and actions, and have a chemist to be able to produce the medicine. So what you need 3 different people for, I could actually perform by myself if I really wanted to, and took the time to advance my knowledge in each one in this pyramid for perfecting a person to be able to be more trustworthy than a doctor. And these doctors, yeah, you just graduated. Some of them will say they just, because doctors courses is a 7-year college, and then you usually need a 2 to 4 year basic college, so that's anywhere from 9 to 11 years in college. And so let's say 9. The second you turn 18, almost no doctor is going to be any younger than 27. Almost no doctor will be. There are very few geniuses that by the time they're 17 or 18 they can be a doctor, but usually some of them veer away from that course for their own reasons, which is bizarre, because doctors are like a pinnacle of knowledge or something. Because, I mean, everyone goes to them, everyone listens to them, and everyone does and takes what they give. If the doctor gives you something, everyone takes what they give. And if that's true, but if I have the basic knowledge to know that you guys had, the last time I was there, you have given me 1 medicine for schizophrenia, 1 medicine to help for the side effects, to hide the side effects of the schizophrenia, and a heart monitoring pill, or something for it was a pill for my heart, and diabetes medicine. Those 4 things all combined in my stomach. Yeah, trusting you, it's 4 different medicines, doctor, but I took psychology class, and I know when you add 2, 3, 4 different pills, there is going to be a combination, a concoction brewing in your stomach. Why? Because I'm also got chemistry and know that while in the stomach, and anatomy and biology, that the stomach acid burns away and heats up these molecules in this in these pills that you gave me, and then it combines them, combusting them into each other, thus making a super pill having all attributes of all 4 of them in your stomach. And because the way they do pills and know how they work, it turns into a super pill. Yeah, it's all 4 of them, but now it's like a 5th to 6th pill dosage that you're taking, even though you're only supposed to be taking minor dosages, or at least that's what they're leading you to believe. And that is, to be honest, that should be criminal not to tell your patients and people half the time. And no, I don't mean give your patients and put them on medicine and then give them classes and stuff to understand their medicines and blah 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 after they already started taking them. You should have your patients to understand the process that's happening inside their body and before it ever gets to their body. And if you had a patient who is actually really connected to their id, I mean like super connected to where they can start picking up from the same sentence after pausing for a second, like no thought interruption was there. It's like the person doesn't even think when they're stopped talking. It's like, I can sit here and ponder about nothing, and I'm not pondering, I'm just that, nothing more. And but when I'm in that zone, it's autopilot. Not autopilot as in I'm just going to walk around like a zombie, just autopilot to where I turn my thought processor off and just running on motor skills and observation skills and sound skills. No thinking going on, but I can still move forward, sideways, and stuff like that. And then I guess I get a better reflex sense, because then I'm running on just all my 5 senses with no thoughts behind it. Just going and walking to whatever attracts my attention, my scent, my eyes, what attracts my ears, what feeling of something attracting me to here, to there. Oh yeah, I took economics too, so I see your subliminal ads that you guys put on different shows and stuff. Oh, I'm not talking about doctors. I'm focused on doctors. Back to doctors. So, doctors, do you think I'm schizophrenic? Because I've told the doctors that ask me, do you hear things? No. Do you see things? No. Well, we have notes about you talking to the devil with your or when you was last night, blah blah blah. I was with a roommate and he swore up and down that the devil could come in and talk to him. And I'm not going to sit here and tell him he's completely wrong, because I mean, I have religious belief that there is a God, and I don't know if he talks to me or anything. Maybe he just moves a trash bag in the wind to get my attention, or maybe he thinks I'm an idiot for following the trash bag in the wind, thinking that was a message from him. Either way, I don't believe God can just like pop in my head and be like, hey, who are you? No. Then that would completely obliterate the freedom of will he has given us. So that process is out. But the same thing for this person that was roommate. He didn't say the devil could speak to him in his head. He said he could clearly see him walk through or call him forth, and he could appear there. Well, a burning bush in Moses, and Moses looking in a crack and barely getting to see his back. So, I mean, even Moses, there was a person that even didn't get to see God fully, but at least a glimpse. So, I mean, supposedly God is real, which I do believe in, but I mean, some people don't, and I'm not going to sit here and say, if you don't believe in him, I'm not going to sit here and try to lead you into believing in him. But my thinking is, hey, this guy is pretty cool. I mean, he's just sticking to himself, staying in his bed. He's telling me what's up. And I mean, I can imagine if someone sat there and walked. We see movies and stuff where people phase through walls and stuff all the time, and we say it's CG and stuff. Yes, it is CG, but I mean, then it gets people to thinking, what if there are people that can walk through walls? And we know that it ain't real, but if I could build an invention that could, in theory, vibrate all the particles in my body to the right frequency of any object, I could pass through anything I wanted. Oh, and yes, I learned physical science and chemistry and how atoms and stuff work thanks to those two. So yeah, I could think of that too, and then I also saw it on a show. So I mean, yeah, I have that kind of knowledge too. And all this information is like, how can I sit here and not believe this guy? Because I mean, God could literally, if he wanted, he has all power in the universe. He could pop down, sit next to me, and I still couldn't see him, hear him, or anything, or touch him, even if he was sitting there. He has that kind of power. And I mean, he's bestowed the devil with that power too, except for the part, the devil has no right to kill anyone. He has all the other powers to where he could walk in, talk to you, whisper sweet nothings in you, and then also, Lucifer is the angel of music. So all music is his. Even though he's the devil still, it's still his property. And that's what some people try to be like, be careful of the music you listen to because it could send you to hell. And then some people are like, why? And they're just like, don't worry, it's just, be careful of music because there's bad messages in it, subliminal messages. Well, subliminal messages used to be only through sound, but now there's subliminal messages and images and everything else too. And if you don't believe me, let me point out, just watch some videos and see how many times you see watches pop on and off of a person's wrist in all these different kinds of music videos. I mean, it's weird that this watch keeps popping off on and off on all these different things. It's like it's trying to burn an image of a watch in your head or something, like beep, watch, weep, beep, watch, beep, watch, 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 watch. What, watch what? Just, you want to watch? Well, no, I don't want to watch. Yeah, you want to watch? No, I don't want to watch. Why do I want to watch? Well, you desire a watch. Why do I desire a watch? Because everyone needs a watch. I don't need a watch. Why don't you need a watch? I don't need a watch. Well, how are you going to get to work on time? I just walk there? How do you know what time it is to get there? I just know. I look at my computer screen, or I look at my phone, or I use my watch. Well, wait, you use a watch? Yeah, I use a watch. Then why are you going through all this trouble? I didn't say I didn't use a watch. I just said I didn't want to watch or desire a watch. Wait, you don't want to watch or desire a watch, but you have a watch. Exactly, that's why I don't want one or desire one. I have one. Well, then our watch does all this. Oh, cool. How much does it cost? Oh, for a low fee of $29.99 in 30 different payments. Wait, sorry, bye. Or not just that, there's supposedly other things going on in history. That's too much to go into topic, so I'll be quiet about that. But yeah, if I'm a person that isn't able to have a good connection with their id and being able to learn from the classes that I've took and being able to ascertain information and infer it from the experiences I've had, not experiences of stories I've heard and images I've seen through TVs and stuff. I'm talking about personal experience, seeing, feeling, breathing, being there, seeing it. If I'm not allowed to defend myself and why I say I shouldn't take a medicine and that I should just trust you when I took all 4 of those medicines the last time I was in a mental facility, and my back contorted, my tongue swole, and I couldn't walk on my left foot because the muscles in it contorted. So I mean, and then because all these different doctors and stuff knew that I was able to double talk them and be able to have a basic understanding, but I don't have their degree and stuff of knowledge, so I should still bow down and listen to them on my body and how it works when I've been in this body for 18 to 23 years. I'm 23 now. The first time I went into a mental facility was when I was 18. So for 18 to 20 years, without any doctor's help, I was able to cultivate this godlike body that's chubby, yeah. So, I mean, I have my own diet, and they wanted me to conform my diet so that it would help their medicine to help me, to help fix a problem that I don't understand is where, when they're like, you're schizophrenic, and they're like, and then I'm like, how am I schizophrenic? They're like, well, you repeat the same thought. No, you guys always interrupt me, and then I have to start my thought over because I hate when people interrupt, and if you interrupt, you must not have paid attention to the first part, so I've got to start over now. And they're like, well, people shouldn't have to do. Well, if your OCD is me, where you're so OCD that you don't even seem OCD, that is how OCD I am. Like, I don't think, I just move and do what I want, wish, and please, all because of OCD habits of only thinking when I speak or when I type, but not to think when I don't speak. So, see, that is an OCD habit, and it's worked pretty well with me. Because, I mean, I can know that these doctors' lines and shit to try to convince me is utterly and entirely bullshit. And not just that, there was one time I had an auditory hallucination. And that's when I was in school in 9th grade, bored one day, not sitting there trying to think of anything, just sitting there in autopilot, walking to where I'm not thinking or anything, and walking to class, and then randomly out of nowhere, I heard, "Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who?" Well, and that was an old song for someone in 9th grade, right? Well, a lot of my best memories are from my childhood when I was moving around and stuff, because my memories were connected through TVs and movies and stuff I saw, and Rugrats were one of my favorite. And the same movie where Chucky's family became whole and he found a mom, it had the song "Who Let the Dogs Out," showing the to show that Tommy's dog and this random poodle get out and are exploring the town and getting out there. And then the kids are exploring and having fun too, all at the same time. Everyone's having fun, and then the synchronicity of everything to where it all falls into place of the dog wanting, the two dogs getting together because the poodle is owned by Chucky's new mom, and they're bringing it to America, so two families got formed, and not even that, a third family was formed because that kind of interlocked the Pickles and the Charlestons. I think that's what Chucky's last name is. Chucky Charleston. That sounds Chucky Charleston. But yeah, I know why I like that song and why, because I'm not one of those other kids and stuff nowadays that liked music all the time. My mom had it blaring in the car and stuff to where I didn't like listening to music. So the first time I started actually listening to music was around 9th to 10th grade, and the first music I started listening to was Korn. So I mean, my OCD habits of wanting to do things my own way and not conform to others and learn from my own perspectives and views have actually led me to a position of actually knowing that these doctors are utterly bullshitting, lying. And when I was contorting and stuff, and the other patients knew that the medicines was getting too much into my system and causing this to where literally my tongue is swelling, my back is contorted, and my foot is contorted, and I'm trying to walk up straight in a straight line, that means that medicine they gave me was breaking my brain and literally causing me to misfire certain parts of my synapses in my head, and I had no control of. And then when I tried to repair it and stand up straight, yeah, it'd work for a second, and then it'd go back to contorting because I was like, okay, I got it, and then relaxed and went back to the normal habit of how my brain fires off synapses. So I mean, obvious. And then the nurse said I was faking it, and it was the patients around me, because patients have to work together with other patients, because we know doctors are bullshitting almost most of the time, and just taking a shot in the dark and hoping they hit a bullseye. And so, I mean, if I have graduated school now, and you graduated high school about 10 years ago, and the way the system is set up, your extra 9 years in college, probably a good 5 to 7 of them got transferred into my high school class, to mean I'm really only 2 or 3 years behind any of your information. So, to be honest, I'm not lacking on this battlefield of wits between doctor and doctor, or psychiatrist and psychiatrist, and as well as chemist against chemist. So you have 3 people and I have my one self, and I could take 3 of you on decently well, but if one of you left, I could demolish you 2, and if 2 of you left, oh my god, you're putty in my hand and you don't even know it. And that's the worst part, because you think I'm doing everything you want, but actually I'm the snake that lets you think that I'm following you, but you're actually following me. And that's from the new Karate Kid, where martial artists interpret soothing motions as a way to lull someone into a false sense of security. Have you ever seen those doctors that kind of do things like this while they're talking to you? If you notice, they're always doing their hands in like in their heads when they're talking to you in kind of a soothing way and kind of talking. So, how have you been today, Ryan? I've been. And you're sitting there looking at their chin and wonder. They're wanting you to think and focus on thinking about why they're doing this and not what questions they're about to start asking off. And because during the entire time them stroking their beard, you're gonna be like, why are they stroking? Well, guess what? I don't think unless I'm talking, and because I listen before I speak. I mean, really, that ain't gonna work on me. It's like a self-defense of nothing, thanks to my mother ignoring me. So that's why I say, even my mother, she gets on my nerves sometimes, and yes, I do rant about some things that she's done here and there, but she does it to me and says the same thing, and doesn't any other parents do the same thing? So I don't know. Oh yeah, did I discuss how the 2,000 calorie diet of 7 pounds a week is the same roughly as the caveman's, except now we're being forced to eat the back end of the 7 pounds on every week. So if everyone's body is developed from all these different cavemen and poverty-stricken people that can only afford about 4 to 7 pounds a week, we have bodies that are used to that, but everyone's trying to eat the 7 pounds thinking that that's going to get them healthy, and if they exercise and stuff, that's going to get them healthy, and that as long as they eat the 7 pounds a week and start exercising slowly on day 1, then on day 3, and then day 5, and then day 7, and then switch it up to day 2, 4, 6, and then switch it up. But guess what? You're going to get fat and obese and chunky because you're trying to stick a diet that they have people that have gotten used to these diets through generations, because most of the people on these diets are people from wealthy families that have the luxury of time and money for organic food and to spend the proper amount to run every day, whatever they feel like, and they start developing habits to where they start eating and snacking 7 times a day and exercising and stuff. So yeah, that's what the majority wants, but only the minority have the body and the gene makeup to make that. So if we try to incorporate the minorities' eating patterns and exercise patterns into genetics of the majorities that don't have anywhere close to the genetics of the minorities, then guess what? Of course the population's going to skyrocket in obesity. Has no one made this cognitive thought yet? I mean, seriously.